All right, today I'm going to walk you through how I swap out my filters on my express water whole home filtration system. Whether you're on a well like I used to be, and the original reason why I installed this, or whether you're on city water, which like I am now, it's a fantastic way to get clean and clear water. And also, by using this filtration system, you can take your sediment filtration from this to this, and that's why we swap out our filters. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, before I get into swapping out these filters, I kind of want to walk you through my valve setup and how I have this built. I originally built this because I was on a well, and my well was producing iron bacteria, and that's not very good for your skin. You get little rashes, and it's not good for your stomach. And so I needed to filter out that sediment and also that bacteria, which this filtration system does, and that's why I have the heavy metals one. So what I did is this line right here is coming in from my well, or I mean, I'm on city now, but it was coming in from my well. And the first thing I put on was a spin down. This spin down catches all of your it's like your first line of defense for your bigger sediment, and you can get different sizes of screens in there. And then you pull this little lever down and it can blow out any of the sediment that it catches. And then when you back up here, you go into my valve setup. And you can see right here that I have the filtration system set up on two separate valves. There's a valve right there and a valve right here. That means I can completely close off the filtration system and route it directly back into my home. There's different reasons why I may want to do that. If I want to put chlorine tablets or something in my spin down, run it through my whole home, and then rinse it out, I can do that without running it through the system, because these filters will catch chlorine. The way that I built this and put it all together, you can kind of see that I used PEX clamps and PEX pipe. This is a PEX clamp right here, and it's a pretty handy way to go. It is a little bit more expensive, but I really like it. And this is your PEX clamp right here. You just kind of use that to clamp them down on the pipe, on the PEX pipe. And then past this valve, you can see that I use shark bite elbows. These are 45s. And it goes to the PEX, and then I had to sweat this on to go in to my filtration system and then out, and that's how it works. That's how I have it built. It's worked flawlessly. And so now let's get into swapping out these filters. Okay, when you're getting set up for this, I'm going to walk you through the tools that I use. There aren't a lot. First thing that I use is you're going to need a bucket to catch any water, because as you're unhooking the housing, you're going to lose some water. So a bucket, and then your housing wrench. This is how you loosen and tighten your filter housings. So you definitely need one of these. Those come with the filtration setup, the whole system. And then once I get these housings off, I need to check the O-rings and re-lubricate them. And so I use a moisture barrier ointment. There's different things you can use. You just don't want anything with any harsh chemicals that can break down your O-ring. That's why I like this one. You can put it on your hands as well. So works great. So a moisture barrier or a lubricant for your O-rings. And then lastly, rags. I have a bunch of dirty rags, and of course you need all your filters. So there's 3 filters I'll be replacing. So let's go ahead and get those going. Okay, my first step is I need to shut off the flow of water to the filtration system and then open up my bypass valve. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to shut this one off. That just now shut off my water to my filtration system. I had already shut that one off. And then I'm going to open up my bypass, which now allows it to go straight from the city up and over. And the main reason I'm still going to be filtering this out, even though I'm on city, is it's got a little bit more chlorine than I like. It's within specs, but I want to filter out that chlorine and then possibly catch anything else that's coming in. So, okay. We shut this off. We shut off the water to the filtration system, and then we open it up to where there's still water flowing to the house. Okay, the second thing we need to do is we need to relieve the pressure, because even though I've shut off the water to it, each of these is still gonna have a lot of pressure built up. And so that's what each of these little red buttons is for. So I'm gonna hit that, and that's why your bucket's down below. There we go. Even though that's not a lot of water, it's honestly not too much. That one. And then that one. And now I can see in each of my 3 gauges, I'm down to 0 pressure. So wasn't a lot, probably like 1/4 cup of water is all that came out of there. So now we have relieved the pressure, so now we can take off our housings. Okay, really quick, I want to show you the 3 filters that I'm going to be replacing. The first one is the sediment filter, and it's a 5 micron, so it removes this, rust, dirt, silt, sand, and other sediments. The second filter is the ACB, the activated carbon block. This is going to remove your chlorine, pesticides, unnatural tastes, odors, and other organic chemicals. And the third filter is the KDF, and that's the kinetic degradation fluxion. And that's going to remove your heavy metals, your algae, microorganisms, iron, lead, and also chlorine. So if your secondary one, your ACB doesn't catch the chlorine, the KDF will. So those are the 3 filters we're going to be taking out right now. Okay, so step 3 is removing the housing. Now these are still going to be tight, even though you relieve the pressure, but there we go. And bringing this down a little bit more. That one's loose. That was the ACB. There we go. But okay, now I have these 3 loosened. Let's go on to step 4. Okay, loosening these can be a little bit tricky just because they're full of water and they're not super stable. So you keep unscrewing it until you get it disconnected. Oh, I'm getting close. This is the sediment filter. You can see some water dripping out. That's because it's filled to the brim plus. There we go. There we go. Now I'm gonna go dump that water out. Okay, I've got the sediment filter housing off, and what you're gonna see is, you see that kind of staining on the bottom. What I like to do is I like to put these one at a time in the bathtub, and I'll scrub them out. So I just use a sponge or just a Brillo pad, nothing crazy. And the other thing we're looking at are the gaskets, and I'll go over that here in just a second. Okay, now that I have it cleaned out and washed, step 4 is we're going to inspect the O-rings. And you can kind of see this here. This O-ring looks pretty dang good. There aren't any imperfections in it. There's no cracking. It looks like the previous lubrication jobs I've done on it have protected it, and I haven't screwed it in weird to put a crease in it. So with it looking like that and knowing that I can reuse it, which you should be able to get years of use out of each O-ring if you are just careful, I'm gonna get some of that moisture barrier ointment, and I don't need a lot. I actually probably have a little too much here, and I'm just gonna run it around it. Just because I wanna keep it lubricated. Again, I don't need a whole lot. Okay, and then one other thing that I do prior to installing it is I never want those threads to seize up on me. And so I will also put a couple dabs, and you can see the residual from past ones. I put a little bit on the threads as well. It's kind of hard to do this while I'm filming it, but hopefully you get the idea. But let's put little globs of it along, because as I'm threading this, it'll move throughout the threads and create a secondary seal, but also help prevent my threads from sealing up. So there we go, that's step 4, and I'll do that for all 3 of them. Okay, step 5 is reinstalling the filters into the housing. So the way we do that is there's a little notch at the base of this and a hole in the center. And I'll lower this in, and I've got to catch that notch. Make sure that I've got it. Yes, I'm lined up there. And then I've got to make sure that I'm lined up put it back in. So I gotta make sure that's centered. And what I'm doing is I'm just slowly threading this back in, and I'm watching to make sure that that filter, there's a ring at the top, and I need that filter to go through the center of it. And it's easy for that filter to bobble around, and I can see that I am inside that ring right now to make sure that it's straight up and down. I'm gonna tighten it, hand tight, and then I'm gonna get my tool. My housing wrench, and I don't have to put too much torque on this. Just probably, I'm gonna do another 1/8 of a turn, maybe. No, it's more of a 1/16 of a turn, and that's it. I'm not trying to torque that down very hard at all. So that's the first one, the sediment filter in and ready to go. But you can already see a major difference from the way that it was. Now keep in mind that last one, it had the well water, and you saw all that orange, that's that iron bacteria. Now that I'm gonna be on city, this is the first time I'm gonna be running it with on city, you're not gonna, I'll never see that kind of discoloration. Really, I'm just trying to catch any impurities in the water or heavy chlorine, like I said. But I'll never see it change colors like that again. But okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of these other three, or sorry, these other two. So now we're at the easy part. Our final step is to turn the water back on and let them fill up, make sure that we don't have any leaks. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close off this valve, because if you look at it, what that valve does is that's the one that goes straight and bypasses the filtration system. So I'm closing that because I don't want the water to go through there anymore. And then I'm gonna open this valve to pressure up my gauges. So let's go ahead and open this one up slowly because we want to check for leaks. So now let's watch the water start to fill. And I'm not going to open it all the way until I get it filled up. Try a little bit more here. Okay, you can see our pressure gauges are going to start to go back up here in a second. Okay, now that they're filled, I'm going to open this up completely. Look for leaks. That's some water there. I'm going to dab it and I'm going to check it to make sure it's not leaking. I think that's actually just residual water from when I put it in, because otherwise it'd be dripping out of there. This one here. This one here. So the last thing I'm going to do is open up this one, which is going to allow it to go back into the home. There we go. So now I have the whole system opened back up and checked for leaks, and that's the last step. All right, so that's how I change out the filters on my express water filtration system, and I do it probably about every 6 months. Anywhere from 6 months to a year. It just really depends. I'll be getting a new fill for it now that I'm on city water. But that's how you can keep your water clean and clear. And just to remind you where we came from, again, this was coming off of the well water, but that's where we came from. And that's my system, and that's how I do it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the comment box below. And if you enjoy videos like this and you want me to continue to do it, please subscribe, and it really helps out my channel and lets me know that I'm going to keep on, or that I need to keep on making videos like this. So thanks for watching. Take care.